Hello there. Welcome to the Kirk Minahan wrap-up show for Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. The Rare Thursday show was taped on a Thursday, was released on a Thursday. Kirk was not feeling so hot on Wednesday. As he said, in the beginning of the show, he sounded like he was just constantly shitting and had to run back and forth between, the toilet and the shower. He got no sleep. So he sent the text message out Wednesday morning, said, we're going to push this off till Thursday. He definitely did not seem like he was at 100%. So that's why I titled it Kirk's Flu Game, because, he was kind of battling through it. And he put on a stellar performance, as always. So joined by some new people to the wrap-up show. Tim Ridgels, who was in studio last week with Madawaska Rob. How's it going, Tim?
I was kind of there. It was a good time. Oh, yeah. How you doing? Thank you.
And then also brand new face to the network is the Sauce Boss. What's happening?
What's going on, guys? Justin, I just want to say thank you for having me on.
Of course. Thank you for doing
it. I think your ascent to the associate producer has been a wonder to watch, and I look forward to watching your future career.
Hey, at least someone here knows I'm an associate producer, so let's just jump right into that story where, it said Kirk sent an intern to go throw out the key to Madawaska, which was factually incorrect. She did not double check her sources on that. So a story comes out today that, Kirk and the town of Madawaska are bumping heads. It was obviously very pro Jeff Boucher. Nothing good can come out of these stories. It's like the town of Madawaska and these small towns are like just keep shooting themselves in the foot. Like just kind of poking the bear, poking Kirk, saying like, he kind of acted like a child, blah, blah, blah. Apparently Kirk had an interview with this woman for like 15 minutes and she used a single quote.
That's the part that seemed to piss him off by far more than anything, was the fact that she came up with all this fucking, totally subjective, like stupid shit that she's just like kind of like not making up, but it's just like not direct quotes. And then she uses one quote from Kirk in the entire interview. And it's just like, that's shitty journalism. I mean, it was bad. It's awesome. It's going to result in us having to move it, which sucks because the first trip to Madawaska, it was a fucking shit show. It was exactly what Kirk wanted it to be. As far as you're going to have to go through a bunch of fucking hell to get up here. And it went perfectly. So it's going to be sad to move it, but wherever we move it to, or wherever you guys move it to, and it's going to be fun. Like it kind of sucks that this is not going to end well. The key spike was an outrageous thing. Does anyone know who has the key?
No idea.
That was literally a 10. That was a 10-minute window. He threw it in a dumpster, and within 10 minutes of going live, that thing was fucking gone. Someone got there fast, which is kind of creepy, to be honest. They're close by, whoever it was.
No, I was thinking like today, I was thinking it's actually good that the show in Madawaska is like gonna be soon, because if we give this any more time, it would be complete, a hellscape before we could ever go.
Oh, yeah. If this was July and we could get like a refund on the tent and everything,
no chance.
I think there would be 0% chance that this will actually be happening. But no, I do think Kirk was funny. He's like, I interviewed this woman and kind of in jest, like he had that quote where he said, he wants to mention that, Jeff Boucher is the most corrupt politician in all of Maine. Obviously, the guy's joking. She doesn't put that in there. He said multiple times, he's like, I know it's like not the most important thing. We're just trying to have. Nope, she doesn't mention any of this. He just makes him seem like a complete psychopath. I just like to see in a news article in a newspaper written about Kirk that's not a hit piece. It's like it's almost as if the Boston Globe controls the entire newspaper industry. I've never seen a single newspaper write a hit piece or write a piece on Kirk that says, Kirk Minahan brings, $50,000 to dying VFW. Kirk Minahan, sends 150 people up into a blizzard to help stimulate the economy. It's always, Kirk Minahan's doing this stuff, but check out his controversial past.
There's no person and it's, a different fame level as other people, but there's no person that's done less inflammatory, actual offensive shit that's had more shit contributed to them through just like hearsay and stupidity. I mean, look at Jimmy Kimmel with this Karl Malone shit. Look at some of the shit some of these really big time people have done, and it's shocking what Kirk has been through. And I mean, he's not as famous as Jimmy Kimmel, but he's still a relatively famous person in the scheme of things. And when you really boil it down to what has he actually done on paper, like if it was a court case and you had to read the text, it's wild how mild the stuff that he crucified is. It's fucking wild. It's pretty shocking. I can't think of anyone quite like it, to be honest.
I mean, it always comes down. It's kind of getting boring at this point where like they just all take themselves so seriously. I'm talking about like the journalists, like this woman. I mean, how many people is reading what she writes? And like we're talking about the most corrupt politician in America.
Are you slandering the Fiddlehead Focus?
Like 200 people, 100? Like,
are you shitting on the Fiddlehead Focus,
boss? Is high, and it's just like if you were reading that, you would think that like this lunatic is wreaking havoc in our town and bringing our bad name to Madawaska. I mean, it's like unbelievable.
All he said was either name a street after me or don't. And, and she's making it seem like, like it's like he's setting down these demands and everything like that. And she really doesn't she kind of mentions that it's a show. She's like, Madawaska, recurring characters. But then everything that Kirk did on the show was taken very seriously when apparently, I went to go throw out the key. There was not a hint of, sarcasm or joking in that. That was just 100% serious. No, but to your point on I wonder how many people like read these women's articles. I guarantee you, if you saw a chart of just like normal clicks and then the amount of clicks like these stories have been getting, it's probably tenfold. It's probably yeah.
But she would be getting the same clicks if it was like if she was just more. Like on the joke, we would all be looking at it anyways. I mean,
she'd be getting more. I mean, we'd be calling into the show. She'd be calling like the reporter of the unofficial.
Yeah.
Reporter
Oh my God, her Instagram would like blow up. Her Twitter. I mean, look what happened to Stacy last year. All Stacy did was say like me and you, and she had like 2,000 Twitter followers by the end of the week. But I don't know. I just think it's funny that people just don't want to associate.
Well, she didn't even the single thing that she could have literally, if she wanted to write. So it was a hit piece and it was shitty. But if she really wanted to get fucking nasty and down in the mud, she would have been like, at one point on his podcast, Mr. Minahan threatened to ram his phallus down the neck piece of Mr. Fuckface or whatever his dickhead name is. Yeah. So like they're like that she could have really like got down in the mud with that if she wanted to like be really, really like really nasty, but she didn't take it quite to that level. But
well-known misogynist Kirk Minahan.
Yeah.
That's pretty much I wonder if she's going to be at the event. I believe Kirk said I hope she comes to the event.
Wisdom teeth or some bullshit.
I hope she comes to the event on next Saturday, kind of sees, Minifans just chilling, having a good time. Hopefully she writes a nice little, she's not going to, but, a nice little recap of what the Minifans will bring that weekend.
Singing rape and just things like, she'll
they started chanting rape.
Its glory.
I mean, if she did a piece on Big Rick's, I mean, if she did a piece on him, like he's making like his whole nut for the year because we're coming to town.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think how much business do you think he's doing?
They make a good amount of business off snowmobiling. They do a good amount of business with snowmobiling.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot of people that go through.
It's a decent amount of tourism, but like they never have an event where like 150 people come.
Yeah,
and or just boozing the entire weekend. But. So speaking of like hit pieces and, Kirk's past coming back to haunt him, even though for the most minute details, Dan Le Batard, subtly hinted that WEEI and Kirk and Callahan are extremely racist. And the reason why they would go back and forth was because Dan Le Batard's father is cartoonishly Cuban, which I don't know Dan Le Batard's father. I don't know how he portrays himself. I just know that my main takeaway is that just say the name. I mean, instead of saying, Boston sports radio have been very racist and mean to me, just say Kirk and Callahan, say WEI. Like stop pussyfooting around this and trying to pretend. Like stop half saying it. Just go out and say it. Which I think he'll never do.
I don't know what that term cartoonishly Cuban means. I don't. When I heard the Levitard part, it's just kind of like, this is where I'm gonna not tune out, but not space out. But it's just like, I don't care. That load just got paid, like they were talking about, $50 million from fucking DraftKings, like to have the DraftKings. So it's just one of those things. I mean, he clearly was talking about Kirk and Callahan. And just like everyone else, like I said, Kirk, there's this stigma about Kirk. Like if you just bring him up, he's like the fucking boogeyman. And it's like, if you really like look at what he said and done, it is so fucking mild. And he voted for Hillary. I don't know. It really blows my mind at the end of the day, like the shit he has to put up with, like the way he's perceived in the fucking media, which is completely controlled by the Boston Globe. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just so like, I feel like he's just being an asshole. Like he's too big to even remember who it was. Like as if if his name at all.
Yeah,
that's a good point. No one listens to him. Like
yeah,
I've seen his show a few times, and like, okay, his dad is literally like the cartoony Cuban guy on the show. Like that's literally the shtick. Like. So, I mean, as a final point, like,
and I don't think Kirk and Callahan ever were like, oh my God, there's this show on our market where there's a Cuban man on it. It was probably like, there's this shitty sports show on our market that is 45th in the rankings and does a 0.0 rankings, and we're doing 14.8. I mean, I'm sure that's what they were shitting on, but it's I don't know. I just say his name. It's just my main thing. If you're going to shit on Kirk, just say his name.
Say it.
So
that's a lot to ask of someone, though, because the second you bring that whole thing out, now your life probably just got a whole lot harder. So I can also understand like to maybe just like, okay, I'm not going there.
Well, who was the say its name guy? Evan Drellich. The fucking say his name. I can't fucking remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So Tim, I know you wanted to. There was some Cullinane news. In the show today that Cullinane will be going to Barstool HQ in a couple, I think 3 weeks from last Monday, so a little over 2 weeks from now. And you had some thoughts on
just
this.
Absolutely my favorite part of the show. I'm sure most people are like thinking of Dave like going up to like Big Cat or like talking to people there and like whatever. I want a GoPro and or several other cameras set up in Dave's hotel room the night before, watching him practice his interactions with these people, and the fucking just Dave like sweeping his hair to one side and be like, no, fuck it. And then that just thinking of that while hearing the conversation today, I was literally just beaming driving down the road, just fucking smile on my face. It is going to be phenomenal. And if there was any way to get content made out of it, it would be so fucking funny to the Minifans. It would be so fucking funny to the Minifans to get any sort of content made out of Cully's trip there. And the fact that it's happening is just beautiful. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah, I think that'd be great if I like followed him around with the camera.
Yes.
Or something of that.
Yes, that's exactly it.
That could possibly. I'll mention that to Cullinane and see if if the show's off that week, maybe I'll swing down to New York City with him and follow him around to see the reaction. I don't know. I just think it would be funny just
to watch him pace around his hotel room the night before. Like, okay. Like, just like a fly on the wall camera and fucking Dave. Like, oh my fucking God, dude, it would be glorious. But yeah, like any sort of content that could come out of this would be fucking gold for the Minifans. It would be hysterical.
Yeah, it seems to me like kind of Cullinane. If it almost feels like Kirk Minahan's show to him is like a stepping stone in his way into the Barstool world. Like that's where he really wants to be. I'm not sure where I land on it yet. I like Cullinane. I thought they were good episodes last year. I think he's a funny guy. I don't watch any of his other shit, but I think it's a good one.
I
Cully's
understand
the
what
fucking. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Justin.
I
Sorry.
understand what you're saying. Where some people could see him using Kirk Minahan's show as like a stepping stool into Barstool, but Kirk and Mike did say today that Cullinane wants to produce the Kirk Minahan show. I don't think. I think if Cullinane came to Kirk and said, "Look, I have these ideas where we do this with Spit and Chicklets, and we do this with Part of My Take," and try to entrench himself more and more into the Barstool world. It was not really focused on the Kirk Minahan show. I don't think he would have gotten the job. So I trust Kirk's judgment on that a lot.
Justin, you got to lean into this, all right? We got to get him out to get you in the chair. So you got to lean into the Cullinane hate here.
Get me in the chair. Which is, you
don't respect him, so already that's in the air.
Right. Yeah, we'll get to that. So
that was fucking wild. What happened? Did you just fumble your words? Did you?
No,
just fumble
I didn't like Cullinane. I mean, it was just like I thought he was a nice person, but I just did not respect him.
Like him as a person, or like as a producer?
Yeah,
like him as he seemed to be a funny. Yeah, producer he was fine. He seemed to be a funny guy, but I just didn't like how he took Jerry's side. I mean, I'm over it. But I was just saying, they asked me, they're like, "Did you not respect him?" And I was like, "No," because he took Jerry's side and all that. And I understand where Kirk's coming from, where he's like, "Well, what is he supposed to do?" And I'm a very loyal person. I thought I'm not a Jerry Callahan fan. I think the one person who wanted the Kirk Minahan show to fail at the start more than anyone else was Jerry Callahan. So I kind of took it as kind of like a shot in the back. That Dave stuck with Jerry, and I know it's completely irrational to be thinking that he just should have quit or anything like that. But yeah, no, I was not a huge Cullinane fan. I thought he kind of distanced himself from the world, but he still kind of entrenched himself in the world enough to kind of keep his name going, and which is perfectly fine. But yeah,
he was he was the first choice. He was the very first choice. Like, he just did one of the dumbest fucking things of all time and fucking sabotaged himself like in record time. But like, he was really the first choice. Like, I don't know.
I wasn't a fan of Kirk during Enough About Me or WEI days. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I started listening to KMS literally right after the Cullinane era. And I thought it was fine, but like I said, I mean, I like Cullinane. I've been in contact with him, but I'm not going to lie and say that, I was.
That was a wild revelation. The way you said it was like, nah, I didn't even fucking respect that motherfucker.
I respect him now.
Before 72 fucking hours ago, I didn't even respect that motherfucker.
No.
I like that.
No, he seems to really be putting in like a lot of work, and I'm Kirk trusts him, so I trust him. Before that, I didn't know if Kirk trusted him or not. So
no,
that's I'm not going to sit there and lie and say, oh yeah, no, I was the biggest Cullinane guy.
Nah, if he's going to use like the connection to Barstool to like make like you were saying, like have like a synergy between like and grow our show. Amongst like the greater Barstool, then that's like, I mean, that's got to be the game plan, right? Because that's the best.
Yes, I think he's going to have. We're going to have more interaction with Barstool in the future because of it. But I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's trying to look. I don't think he's trying to get a job in the New York office away from KMS.
No,
and I think some people are afraid that he might be doing that. But like,
Cullinane's exactly where he wants to be. This is exactly where he wants to be. He can stay here. He can do his other. He's exactly where he wants to be. And honestly, where kind of he was supposed to be at the very beginning, till he fucking, like I said, did like literally one of the dumbest things ever. Just like a completely fucking dumb move that cost him a really good opportunity. And Steve was good. In a lot of things, but Steve there was always a disconnect between Steve and the fans, whether you hated him, whether you're in a secret society that like plotted against him or whatever. Like Steve was good. He just never connected with the fans. And Dave's different.
No, I definitely think Dave's gonna connect with the fans more than Steve will. But I do think there is going to be some aspects where we look back and we will miss Steve.
Oh yeah, Steve was hysterical. He was hysterical. He was great content.
There was times where like Steve and Mike would get in a groove, or Steve and Jared, and like it would really like he was like the man sometimes, and then he'd fall off sometimes too. But I think he was a great guy for the show.
So speaking of Jared, I kind of wanted to not shit on Jared. I mean, we saw that whole thing with the what?
Fucking blowing smoke right now.
No. So we
taking
saw that
out Carabas now.
No. We saw that whole thing with VD and Manners.
Yeah.
It sounded like Kirk had this idea where he wanted to kind of have them hash it out in the show. VD and Manners were going to call in with Carano, and Carabas was going to be in studio. We found out at the end that Carabas will not be making it because he has prior obligations, which is fine. I mean, he has a big boy job to do in whatever his secret project is. But
is it Jeter, by the way? Like
I have
A-Rod Jeter. Like I mean,
there's no way it's Jeter.
Yeah, I think he's doing a deep
There's
dive.
No way it's
into,
Jeter.
Like, is it just some random pro player? Like,
no, he's doing a deep dive into A-Rod and J-Lo's relationship and like where it all went wrong. So, but no, I just wanted to like tip my cap to Mike that like whenever Kirk says like, "Hey, are you free to come in?" and Mike's like, "Yep." I mean, he's willing to step up. Not that the show could necessarily be bad these past couple of weeks, but it definitely could have been lacking if at some points you only had me and Kirk instead of Kirk, Mike, and me. To have Kirk play off Mike, or Kirk and just Craig, because with Steve being out and all that stuff. So I really do think that Mike has stepped up way more than he has needed to these past couple of weeks, and I just wanted to give a good old shout out to Mike in regards to that.
Have you been on the KMS payroll now currently longer than Mike was?
No.
For his time? It's wild.
No.
Mike is really a genius, huh? Like he comes back and is basically doing the same job.
I was listening today and it was like, this motherfucker's basically back full time. This is great. Like, dude, he's back to like square one. Justin's like fucking shitting in the CEO bathroom now, and fucking Mike's all the way down here. It's pretty beautiful circle of life. It's good to see. And Carano's off to that was another part of the show that I thought was pretty interesting. So I think the Carano-Callahan dynamic is going to be pretty awesome, especially early on while it's feeling out. Like those first couple episodes, whereas like, Cullinane is just like, I don't give a fuck about Paul. Like he doesn't know about shit like that. He doesn't care about shit like that. He just kind of like wanders about. Fucking Carano does, and he's like real serious about it, and he's real opinionated. And it's going to be a good dynamic, and I think it's going to work really well. Those first couple episodes for the feeling out process are going to be fucking yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I'm happy for Carano as much as people fucking still shit on him, still hate him, and blah blah blah. I still think Carano's a good guy. I think he's fucking.
Well, I hope it turns it into like a watchable show, because I really never was a fan of Jerry Callahan's show. I gave it a try, but I mean it's always just like the same thing. Like AOC, I've seen what she's doing. Like to have some pushback from a guy like Carano, like who's maybe not going to be as so extreme as like he is. Like it could actually make it a good show. I mean, I'm excited to try it again at least. I like Carano, so.
Yeah, nothing's official yet, but I think it would be a smart business move to at least give him a chance, a trial period. I like Carano. I mean, he's a great guy. So that was definitely an interesting little void. They were talking into the Miniverse about Carano. It's funny how like the training go. Steve left for a month. Cullinane filled in. Now, Steve left for good. Now Cullinane's in for good. It's kind of like this whole farm system Kirk has going. With
yeah.
He's doing a good job developing players, I think. Mike has been much better since he came back. Like, I mean, I always liked Mike, but it seems like he's so much more confident now. Like in everything he says and does. Like,
you think he's like a 4A player? Like when the spotlight's on him, you don't.
Right there, he's about to get the call.
Well, when Mike and Craig were in there, so Mike has a natural rapport with Kirk because they've worked together, and then Craig and Mike have a natural rapport. So when Craig was in there, he did a really good job. It worked really well as far as like there was a natural connection between all three of them, kind of like when Steve was there. So that was pretty good to see. That seemed like a really old school show, and that was a really fun show to like listen to as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it's
I think the whole show seemed old, like it was. I think we're back to our roots, like with Mike back, and I feel like it's like the early days. More songs, more prank calls. The prank calls lately have been like as good as they ever were. I think maybe it's like the best they've ever been. Like it's not so like inside jokey. It's literally just like hilarious shit that they're getting on the air. Like
we had some great prank calls from Tim and Canton and Steve from Providence that Rob had when we were in, but the audio is dog shit. And I'm not sure what happened, but he tried to play them and the audio was just dog shit. But they were fucking raw, like really, really highly offensive. I was fucking dying. Like it was really, really bad. And it was just like, how does this? It was like a fucking Big Lots or something. I don't know who they were calling, but it was just glorious. Oh my fuck.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys how you guys thought the calls went today, because I think the calls can either be hit or miss, and I think today they were a big home run. It was a big home run. We had, the president calling in. He's always great. I mean, when he said that Sprinter van is like Russian collusion, I think that might have been like the statement of the day. They both never existed. Tim and Canton called in. He's always great. Ziggy Robinson called in.
Tim calling in and saying I was just taking a dump and figured I'd call in was pretty great. But
it's
hearing from Mr. President, it's always an honor, and just to know he's still out there, and hopefully we can give him a platform because he has been deplatformed completely. It'd be nice if he could find a home. Someone should reach out. That would be a real associate producer move. Like, just reach out to Donald J.
Reach out to Donald J.
Yep,
Trump
yep.
We
get a place in Watertown. come check it out.
Imagine him just
when
walking.
He breaks, it's like my favorite part. Like,
he's
it's giggling. Like really fucking funny.
Yeah,
he's like, gotta get the rust off, Kirk. Gotta get the rust off. It's no, but I think the calls today were really good. And that prank phone call, I don't know what it is. I don't know how figures in Mike's ass became a thing. But it's I'm now obsessed with it. It's now, I think if you're doing a phone call, you have to somehow mention Mike Geary getting fingered.
Full name.
I go to order a 4 for $4 at Wendy's, and I almost try to slip it in, like, and it's just like, don't do it, like you're going to get arrested. But like, I almost want to, or just like, I just want to say it to people, like, fucking finger ass with a reach around.
So do you have like a mechanic? Because like my Suburban has like 141,000 miles on it, and my son Michael Geary, he's always in the backseat with his friends, and he's just slipping fingers up his ass.
Nissan.
He's like, I don't know what you mean. And then at the end, he's like, I love Mike, how Mike brought this up. He goes like, hey, like get that guy's phone number, like you're gonna call the FBI and say like, hey, this guy keeps calling our show and mentioning his son getting
fingered.
Well, he's obviously not paying attention because he like let him say it twice. Like 15 seconds apart.
I just think he has no idea what's going on. I mean, I kind of feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, it's so funny. Like Tim said, as soon as like you feel bad for him, and then as soon as you hang up the phone, you're like, okay, that was great,
glorious.
So I can only imagine Tim hinted at another phone call for tomorrow's show. That Tim said like might be his penultimate call into John from Rhode Island. So let's I'm hoping to hear that. The phone calls were great today. It kind of Kirk kind of played off of it. He was talking about Winchester, he was talking about my family, he was talking about at the end there, he was talking about the case a little bit. He really brings the best out of the callers, and I think today was a prime example of that. And I think callers are the best when it's with Mike, because I just think the callers need someone to not necessarily shit on, but kind of have that character. And Mike's more of a developed character of the show than say Jared is.
Well, where does Ziggy called in? Where does Ziggy go from here? I think is what like 7 or 8 people are saying and trying to figure out. Like,
Mhm.
where does Ziggy go from here with no Steve Robinson, with no Boogeyman? Like, what is left for Ziggy call wise? And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. The second half of 2021, it's going to be big for Zig. So
Yeah, that was a good. Yeah, Mike and Kirk talked about that. Mike was like, either Ziggy was going to turn on him, Carabas, me, Kirk, or we'll see what he is. But it's going to be kind of like, what is Batman without the Joker?
well, you can't turn on Carabas right now, and it's easy because Carabas just turned on VD and Menners with the help of Nadu. So it's perfect for Ziggy because he hates VD. So I think it all works out. But like I said, second half of 2021. Ziggy coming up big.
Yes. So, anything else you boys want to talk about from today's show?
What are the parameters of this hot dog contest, and do you have any entrants already?
Yeah, I have a couple. What do you mean, like parameters? It's just going to be like just eat. It's going to be 10 minutes. You're going to try to eat as many red snappers as you possibly can.
Buns and water.
Yep, you can buns, condiments will be allowed if you'd like. Hopefully, I don't know if you heard this, but I'm trying to get some Wi-Fi in the park.
What? Okay, so what is the so people won't have to use their data, or because of like connectivity issues up
let
there?
me see if I actually got this right.
I don't understand that at all.
Advertisement with like a hotspot company, and that's how we're doing it, or
Yes,
are you just
they reached out to me? No, they reached out to me and said like, "Hey, I know the internet is shit up there. We're big fans of the show. We'd like to kind of set you guys up with like a hotspot."
Oh, cool.
See, that's what I mean. Like, that's why you guys shit on, because you did not explain that well at all.
Well, yeah, because like,
You're like, oh, we might have Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we might have Wi-Fi. But no. So hopefully, I'm thinking about that might be a fun event to like live stream to the public, where everyone can kind of watch and take part of that.
Is the meat company? What the fuck's their name? The hot dog.
Meats?
Are Beans Meats providing the hot dogs?
I have not reached out to them yet. I probably should do that. But I mean, I think we.
So 10 minutes, all you can eat. Just fucking slam them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also if you want to go there and just kind of have like 2 or 3 hot dogs and just hang out, you're gonna. No one's gonna say no. You can eat lunch there too.
Sweet.
So, the last thing I wanted to mention was a lot of people are having trouble with Apple Podcast recently. When the show gets uploaded, I don't know if you see a bunch of people on Twitter saying show's not showing up yet. Show's not showing up yet. That's like a Apple problem. It has nothing to do with the RSS feed in regards to the Kirk Minahan show. I've heard a couple different things. If you unsubscribe and subscribe again, sometimes it pops up. Some people are just having to get like a different podcast app. Stitcher works well. Spotify seems to be doing okay. But yeah, there's just some trouble with the Apple Podcasts. So that's out of Kirk's control, out of Barstool's control. It has to do with like a most recent update. Big Cat had a whole rant about it a couple weeks ago. So I just wanted to point that out. But anything else you boys want to mention?
$100 bounty side bet.
Something crazy, so I don't know if we have time.
Of course.
Well, it's Kirk mentioned it softly today, like shortly. I mean, about like all like the fake cheering the Barstool does, and I'm wondering if he's trying to gear up to start some shit with them, because I'm like kind of right on his team. Because I've been watching I've been not watching them, but I've been seeing the streams they've been doing for these games, and like it's actually just so cringy, like how fake the whole thing is. Like, no one gets that excited about a hockey game, like unless you're fucking hammered. Like,
no, I think if you know Frankie Borelli, I think he legitimately would give his left nut to see the Islanders win a Stanley Cup.
Right, there's like 20 people there that are all just like the world's biggest Islanders or Bruins fans.
Oh, I'm not buying it. I agree with that. I think that I think it should kind of stick to, there should kind of be like 2 main people. There should be a Islanders guy and a Bruins guy, and then the background is just whatever, because I know they're flip-flopping back and forth. I know they're doing the live stream tonight from bar in Boston. They've been doing a live stream from Borelli's the previous 2 games. But it is fun to see if you do check it out and you're into that kind of stuff. I think at one point they had over 30,000 people watching.
That's what I it's
during
so
game
crazy.
2, which is just insane. So I mean, even if it's fake, I mean they're doing something right. They're gonna, they're gonna end up making
them.
money on it somehow. So, but yeah, no, I haven't been into hockey for a while. My hockey team's not very good. So,
I was just thinking maybe keep an eye on that because going forward, because if he keeps gnawing at that, there's gonna be some pushback because that's their whole thing now is sports and gambling and all that.
Yep.
So if he keeps doing that, it might get a little hot sometimes.
It's largely fake, but if you're an adult and you're that fired up about a sporting event that you are not gambling on, something's weird. Like something is amiss. Like unless you got money on that, like it's just really weird. Like people that get really fired up about fucking games. It's just like, okay, I gotta work tomorrow. I'm tired.
Yeah. But yeah, so that about does it for today's show. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Sauce. You did a great job. You're welcome back whenever you'd like.
Awesome.
It's always good to have a
fresh face Sauce on here. Boss, are you going to be in Madawaska?
No, I will not be. I couldn't get a ticket, so.
Oh, nice.
I'm not going to drive all the way up there without a ticket. So
yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I'll be at the Wilbur whenever that actually happens.
Perfect. Yeah, I think it's. Looking forward to January. So awesome. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you to Kirk. Thank you to Mike. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow.